Hello, ICW fans, and here I am with another blast from the past. This time I review ICW Maximum Impact. This event took place back on July 18th, 2003. Wow, 20 years ago. And this was a memorable show for various reasons. And here I'll just start with the results to begin with. The show's first matchup was tag team action as we saw Los Boricuas, not Savio Vegas, as it was Tony Blaze and Warpath. They did a battle with Drew Blood and Devin Moore to open up the show. Drew Blood and Devin Moore were victorious over Los Boricuas. Next was a singles match as we saw Hot Stuff Eddie Guapo go one-on-one with Matt Striker. Striker was victorious over Guapo to win the match. Third match of the night, we see Boogaloo accompanied the ring by Lowrider taking on Monster Mac. Monster Mac defeated Boogaloo by disqualification when Lowrider attempted to push Mac off the top rope, and Mac was double teamed until the Boogie Knights came to his aid. Next match was another tag match as we saw the Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, EC Negro and Casey Blade, did battle with the Solution, Papa Don and Havoc, and the Solution was victorious, defeating the Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Again, I haven't watched this show in a long time, but at one point, I forgot when, but there was a segment where Matt Striker comes out with Eddie Guapo camcorder in hand. Not sure if those babies are made anymore. And Striker says to the crowd, you've heard of Girls Gone Wild. You've heard of bangbust.com. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Striker Vision. And Striker pulled a good-looking young lady from the crowd, and he was being such a dang pervert. He was trying to get the crowd to chant Bush. They were get them to chant tits. The young lady, stripped down on her bra and panties, and I don't know if she did take her bra off, but of course her breasts were completely covered, and some segment that probably, that was for all the darn perverts in the building. But back to the action, it was a three-way match as we saw, Azrael versus Johnny Ova versus Dan Barry. During the matchup, Dan Moff comes out and ends up a four-way matchup. Well, four-way elimination match where Dan Moff defeated Azrael, Johnny Ova, and Dan Barry to pick up the win. At that point, out comes ICW's founder, Jack Sabbath, comes to the ring, and he's trying to talk to the crowd, but he's interrupted by L. Shoes, who later became Maximus Sex Power, and Shoes is standing on the stage while Jack's in the ring, and Shoes announces to the crowd that he's the new commissioner of ICW, and his first act as commissioner, since Alexis Lurie, Mickey James, did not show up, that the Super J or Super Juniors Championship was vacated. And I don't know if they have said they were going to plan to have a tournament or something to fill the vacancy at a later time. And eventually out comes Prince Nana, and he gets the microphone. He's chewing Jack out, reading him the riot act. And eventually Nana leaves the ring. Jack takes the microphone and says, does anybody else have a problem with me? And out from the crowd we see Danny DeMonto, the late Tim Arson, and Damian Dragon, three men who had not been on an ICW show in months. And I forgot what Damian said to Jack, but Jack says, decided the three of them would face each other right then and there in a three-way matchup, where the winner would get a spot in ICW. And as Jack leaves the ring, Arson gets the microphone, called him a punk and a bitch. And the match was on. Out comes Lowrider and Boogaloo. Boogaloo gets over a chair, and he waylaid and did a number on DeMonto with the chair, even after he got out of the ring. And I don't know how many times he got hit with the chair. Arson, in the meantime, I believe he hit was it a TKO? That Mark Merrow was known for, and he pinned Damian Dragon to score the pinfall, defeating both Damian Dragon and Danny DeMonto in the triple threat match, earning a spot in ICW. Jack Lowrider Boogaloo are also in the ring with him, and Jack and Arson shake hands, and Jack announces to the crowd, I give you the new dynasty. The original dynasty was a heel group that was in ICW from 2001 to 2002. Okay? Next matchup, we see Confederate Courtesy, Chris Hamrick go one-on-one with the Grim Reaper. Good match these two guys had. Reaper picked up the victory, and I don't know if Hamrick was legitimately hurt or not, because after the match, Hamrick attacks Reaper and gives him a top rope pile driver, and at that point the show went to intermission, and I don't know if Reaper was hurt or not. The show resumes with tag team. Right after intermission, they have tag team action, and we see the Backstreet Boys, Johnny Cashmere and the late Tread Acid, did battle with Buffy and Mace Mendoza, the Christopher Street Connection. Not sure if this was a first-time match between these two teams, but it unfortunately went to a 10-minute draw at this matchup between the Backseats and the Christopher Street Connection. Up next, we saw Prince Nana challenge the all-around best Xavier, rest his soul, for the ICW Northeastern Championship. Xavier eventually wins the match. I think he pinned Nana with a 450 splash. Again, folks, I haven't watched this show in a long time. But out came Jack Sabbath, Lowrider, Boogaloo, and Tim Arson, the new dynasty. And everybody knowing Jack and Xavier were part of the original dynasty, but they attack Xavier, and Jack announces that Nana was also a part of the new dynasty. And after they left the ring, Xavier gets the ring, he gets the microphone, and he says he's going to go all the way to the top. Now, this was very significant because this right here, this match turned out to be the very final time the ICW Northeastern Championship was defended. And I'll have more on, I guess maybe more on that in a little bit. Okay. Then in another tag team match, we see the Boogie Knights, Danny Drake and Mike Toba take on Joel and Jose Maximo, the SAT. Good match these two teams had, which saw the SAT defeat the Boogie Knights to get the victory. And then it was time for what I guess we could say was a hardcore match, as Lowlife Louis Ramos is in the ring, and out comes John Honest Cheatham, and he says, he thanks the crowd, the fans of New York City, and John also says, thanks Louis for hanging around after 11 o'clock, and Cheatham introduces Abdullah the Butcher. My understanding, John Honest Cheatham is no longer Abdullah's personal manager, away with his wrestling dealings, I understand. I guess they broke off and stuff. But Abdullah, I don't know, because there were no stairs from the ring to the floor. I guess he had some trouble. He had to take a chair and step on the chair to get from the ring floor to the ring apron. And at that point, Louis doesn't even wait for the bell, and he's hammering away at Abdullah, and I don't know what kind of object he had in his hands. Louis was cutting Abdullah open, and then Abdullah, but once Abby got in the ring, it was all Butcher. Karate thrusts mostly, and Abdullah pins Louis with the elbow drop. And after the match, out on the floor, Abdullah does a number on Louis. I think even to the point where they're up on that stage. Okay, next matchup we see Mikey Whipwreck challenging Justin Credle for the ICW Heavyweight Championship. Two men that were no strangers to each other as they feuded in ECW in the past, and Justin Credible pins Mikey Whipwreck with That's Incredible Tombstone pile driver to retain the ICW Championship. And then what ended up the final match of the show, Notorious 187 Homicide against the new effing show Jerry Lynn, which saw Jerry Lynn defeat Homicide to win the match and end a great night of ICW. Now, some things about this very show. Um, mm. Now, as I said, this was the final time the ICW Northeastern Championship was defended on ICW event because what happened was the next show that was planned after this one that I'm reviewing was supposed to be the Impact Cup in September of 2003. However, less than a week after Maximum Impact took place, ICW announced it was calling it quits, and this show I'm reviewing turned out to be the final ICW show until the year 2010. So, you know, even it felt like yesterday, nobody thought ICW would ever return around the mid to late 2000s. And thing is, Xavier never did defend the Northeastern Championship ever again. I don't know if he lost the belt or what went wrong. Let me see other stuff that I could recall as far as this event goes. I'm sure many thought this would be the last ICW show ever after what happened afterwards when they canceled the next one and didn't come back till 2010. Funny thing is, in attendance for this show was Brian XL, Samoa Joe, Low Key. I forgot who else. They were all in attendance, but not on the show. Wow. I'm trying to think what else here, folks, we had regarding this. Oh, also in attendance was Ken Scampy and Mega, but we're not on the show at all. I mean, it was a good show, of course, but I'm trying to think what. Oh, actually, funny thing, as the show went on, it rained that night, and I remember I could see out like one match was about to get underway, and I can see out the window the thunder and the lightning go off, and by the time I took my leave, I go out the door and I see like the streets were all wet because it did stop raining by the time I got out of the building. Let me see. What else can I really remember about this event here? I mentioned Striker Vision. I mentioned the new dynasty had been created. Xavier's last defense of the Northeastern title. Oh, another one. Here we go. Well, this turned out to be the last time Justin Credible defended the ICW title. He never worked for ICW again because when ICW came back in 2010, I guess they kind of started over because in October 2010, they finally did the Impact Cup tournament, which was won by Christopher Daniels and the late Xavier. Wait, was it Christopher Daniels Xavier or... Damn, was it Daniels and Xavier or Daniels and Papa Don? All apologies, folks. But maybe the embassy. Well, no, I forgot what Prince Nana called his group at ICW at the time. Oh, Nana Corps. It was not the embassy because that was in the Ring of Honor I knew and loved. The Nana Corps, which was Maximus Sex Power, Peaky Sanchez, Papa Don, the late Xavier, Christopher Daniels. I forgot who else may have been part of that group. That was what they were called, Nana Corps. Oh, Rob Fury, not the SWF owner, but Rob Fury also was a part of that group. But yeah, like the Impact Cup finally took place in 2010, and Nana Corps won that tournament. And as far as Justin Credible, he never worked for ICW again, I don't think. But in 2011, they finally did a tournament to crown a new heavyweight champion that wound up being Dan Moff. Let me see here. Tim Arson, who won the three-way match early in the show, he eventually passed away, but he, along the way, had become the zombie on appeared on, yeah, he was the zombie that was beaten up by the Sandman on ECW on Sci-Fi. And he continued to use that character on indies afterwards. All right? Matt Striker, of course, we know he got signed by WWE. Mm. Yeah, I think that's about it. I could sum up for this review, but it was a good show, even though I haven't watched it, and I didn't even watch it before doing this review. So this is mostly off memory. And so, folks, I hope you enjoyed this particular review.